Is your home toxic? Is there something lurking in your cupboard that may be contributing to ill health? Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies with people. Natural remedies provide strength and endurance, and they help the body to assist it to be balanced. Drugs work on symptoms. Symptoms are simply the body's way of communicating with you that something is out of balance. So, balancing the body is essential for good health. Now, I don't treat diagnosed conditions. I may discuss them in these home to health events, but it isn't my focus. My focus is, why is the body presenting these symptoms? So the purpose of these classes is to give you some information, hi Cherie, about how you can take charge, get healthier, and be the best that you can be. Once you've been exposed to information, you can either ignore it or accept it. Many times, new information challenges what you know or what you thought you knew and who you trusted that information to. So the source of the information can often depend on whether you believe them or not, whether you trust what they're saying or not. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the information we receive from the media is slanted. Profitable interest groups will lobby for laws to keep toxic chemicals in use because it helps their bottom line. It isn't about whether it affects your health. It's about their profitability. How about Monsanto, now Bayer? This chemical giant is responsible for worldwide toxicity. The only way we can stop them is through our buying power. Stop buying the chemicals. Choose healthier versions of cleaning products and fertilizers. There's a whole realm of natural fertilizers and natural products and fragrance-free. Now, why do I mention fragrance-free? Well, maybe you love the fragrance of your soap, but let me tell you about some of those fragrances and what they can be doing to you. Now, I've spoken to you about my friend and colleague, Cindy Clement, who wrote the book, Your Body's Chemical Burden. Let me read you from page 17. In most medical training today, there is a lack of information in the curriculum regarding environmental medicine, and yet in the United States alone, it is estimated that 13% of disease is attributed. This is 400,000 deaths per year from cardiovascular disease, neuropsychiatric disorders, and cancer. Now, I have this book available in my office, but I've also provided an online link to Amazon. And for $20, you can have this reference. It's an amazing piece of work. Here she continues with, Distinguished Professor Emerita at University of California, Davis, Judith S. Stearns stated, our genetics may load the gun, but our environment pulls the trigger. Wow. You know what that means? Well, our genetics are like this candy in this wrapper. And it can sit there, it can be in your pocket, but you can't taste it until you take that wrapper off. Now, the wrapper is called the epigenome. And once the epigenome is opened, by the toxins in our environment, by poor food, poor nutrition, poor diet, bad sleep habits. You can go on about all of the challenges that can unwrap that wrapper. That gene cannot get expressed until it comes out of the wrapper. And whether that happens or not depends on you. That's true. How about Silent Spring? Rachel Carson told us in the 1960s that our water and air were poisoned by these chemicals, and yet they still exist. How about Erin Brockovich? I mean, we all know her story. We've seen the movie. Why are these people telling us these things? Cindy refers to thousands, hundreds upon thousands of studies that she was privy to as a professor at U of M. People, we have to listen. What is lurking in your cupboards that is causing ill health and your children's ill health? If we take 20 as being the generational point between 20 and 25, that's 3 generations that we've known about this, and yet nobody's doing anything about it. So, you know, if you're going to climb to the top of a mountain, you take one step at a time. So what I'm trying to do here is to inform one person at a time. So share with your friends and let them know that these buying of these toxins has to stop. And it is only going to stop if we know what we're buying, what we're putting on our skin, what we're putting in our mouths. So stay tuned, because part of this is about that. And you know what? I can't in 20 minutes to a half hour actually go into the depth of it. I'm just going to touch a little bit on what might be affecting you in your own home. Well, last week I talked about heavy metals and how we can get those out. And Sherry says she's been sharing with her group. And thank you, Sherry. I appreciate it. So you can review that video. It's in the Dr. Mary's Health to Home, and know some of the things. But one of the things I talked about specifically is separate your aluminum foil from your food with parchment paper. So maybe today you can get some more ideas on what to do. So do you burn candles or incense, or do you have sprays that you put all over the house? How about hanging up in your car those little trees? Talk about a pet peeve. We are creating toxins by the choices we make. So, last week I touched on the wick of the candle is threaded with a metal to keep it upright so that when they're filling the candle mold, it's easier for them. It isn't any benefit to you, it's just easier for them. So, we don't want to put lead in there, and we don't want to put benzene in our bodies. Benzene comes from these fragrances that we love. Okay, let's switch to essential oils, because there is no ill effect from using essential oils properly. So just Google toxins in scented candles. You'll get a list. And they're all scientific references. Now, I mentioned that air wicks are a pet peeve of mine. You go into hotel rooms and bathrooms and you name it, they're everywhere, along with the Purell, which is another story. Yesterday, every Monday, I do an electronic newsletter called Herbal Egram. And yesterday, I wrote an article about VOCs. Now, you can find them on my website. It's under the heading of newsletter, and you'll get this is what it looks like. So my website is bornforhealth.com, and I refer to Cindy's book and give you a link in that newsletter to the Amazon site where you can purchase the book. And if you have Prime, shipping's free, so $20, it's yours. But volatile toxins are all around us, and it's one of the things that is in fragrances. It doesn't have to be listed, of course, on the label, because that falls under the Privacy Recipe Act, where they don't have to disclose what fragrances come from. But they are gases let off, and that's what you're smelling, are these gases. Along with contributing to your toxic burden with these halogens, there's something that affects your hormones. It disrupts them and confuses them. So this is a really simplistic view of, so this is the hormone emitted by the body, and you can see there's like a lock and key system. And in order to activate the, activate the function, the key has to fit into the lock. Now this is like the old-fashioned keys. This isn't like the card key that you get nowadays. This is a key with tines, and you set it into the lock, turn it, and the door opens. Well, there are hormone mimickers let off by these chemicals that fit into the lock, and they stay there. So the brain says, well, I have sent that hormone to your rescue. You're sending out this, I need this, but it's not getting in beyond the door to help with the function. So you can read about that. Cindy's book is just one reference. It's an absolutely marvelous compilation of studies, and it gives you hints on what to do, how to get these things out of your home safely, because sometimes if you just bind them into a garbage thing, then you're creating a toxic dump when the garbage collects these. So beware that these hormone disruptors can affect your body. Let's just take, for example, you have a wonderfully functioning pituitary gland, and it sends out hormone for the thyroid, but this thyroid hormone sits on the door and never gets into the lock. So, I mean, it can't turn that lock. So you are hormone deficient. In other words, your thyroid is hypofunctioning not because your pituitary isn't sending it out, it's because it's not being accepted by the thyroid, because benzene is sitting there, or some other of the 280 chemicals that are out there in our environment, and we can't function. We feel tired, our hair's falling out, a variety of things when you're hypothyroid. So last week I talked with you a little bit about ultrabiome and how wonderful, how wonderful it is on getting rid of heavy metals. But actually what Ultrabiome does is it helps to set the gut up with the proper environment. Remember I talked about how important it is to balance things out. Well, it helps to balance the gut. And it's very important for in the process of detoxification. Now, a lot of you are on diets and you're losing weight. And along with that, you're losing fat. Do you know that toxins are stored in fat? And if you don't have some kind of a fiber like psyllium hulls, which is in the Ultrabiome, then that has to be there present to attract those toxins. Otherwise they get recycled and your body is affected by them once again, and the liver has to store them in more fat, and then you get to the point where I can't lose any more weight, I'm stuck at this weight. You have to do a cleanse. So now there are some things that I talk about in these, and you may want to get them, and if you follow the link that says tickets, you will definitely get the list of products that I recommend, I use, and they are the best quality. You can get them at discount, so by all means make sure you do that. By the way, if you're enjoying what you hear, well, you may not be enjoying what you hear, but if you find that they are helping you understand a little bit about why you may not be at the top of your game, then send me some hearts, emojis. Cherie's been sending great little things, and I appreciate it. And do some comments. If you have a question and you find it personal, send me an email, drmary@bornforhealth.com, and I'll be happy to send you information, send you links. It's just, I want to be here for you. I want to help you. I want to be part of your team where you are I'm getting a connection available thing. I'm hoping that this isn't interrupted. So another toxic that I want to talk about is phthalates. Now it's spelled PHLATES. And these are endocrine disruptors, and they, like the thyroid needs hormones, your reproductive system needs hormones, all of these things. Now, estrogen, fake estrogen, comes from plastics, using plastics. So I never use straws. I avoid them like crazy, because anytime you have a soft plastic, any liquid that's going through it is picking up these phthalates and bringing it up into your body and disrupting your hormones. So look for plastic or paper straws, stainless steel straws. If you're one that loves straws, change it. There's even glass straws. So petrochemicals are found in anything plastic. So if you have plastic containers, switch to glass. Make sure that when you buy meat at the grocery store, that you go to the meat counter and ask, they will wrap it in paper. Make an effort to eliminate plastic as much as you can from your food supply, from your house, actually. So look into the possibilities of other containers. Don't use, of course, Teflon coated pans or any of those. The PFAs from those are still in our system 20 years later, and they're very difficult to get rid of unless you do some conscientious cleaning of your environment. Now, we have something called Enviro Detox, and it is amazing. It supports the body's natural cleansing functions and allows friendly bacteria to inhabit the intestinal system to create the right environment for the good flora to exist. So that's one of the other things you can do, Enviro Detox, along with the Ultrabiome DTX, and really do a good job of cleaning out the heavy metals, the environmental the toxins, as well as getting your gut in a good, healthy state that helps you absorb your good food that you're putting in your body. So it's gentle. You can actually have children taking the Enviro Detox. With young children, I open the capsules, put it in some applesauce, non-sweetened and organic, and so you can mix it up. And depending on their age, if you know that they've been sucking on plastics and you want to get rid of that exposure, then you can use the Enviro Detox and mix it into the applesauce. And if they're between 2 and 5 years old, you open one capsule and put it in 2 ounces of applesauce, and then put that in the refrigerator. You get a teaspoonful every day, and you're detoxifying. You can do things like milk thistle tea. You can do red clover is an excellent cleanser. You know, I just am appalled at the American Cancer Society's way of giving information about cancer. There's so little that they are actually telling you that you can do. Most of their information is all about getting mammography, doing the testing and all that. It isn't about preventing cancer at all. And maybe it's because they're not informed, but I can't understand how the information is out there from very good scientific information, and they're not sharing it with you. Dr. McCullough is a great source of information, and I read all of his articles. He references other books and people that are in science and are proving that these things are true, how important vitamin D is to prevent cancer. So on my Facebook, I've created a link to a foot spa day that we're doing in Southfield in February. And I would like to invite you to do it if you're in the area. Please call Cherie. She is going to be doing these foot baths, and she can give you a lot more information. So follow that link, call her, and make sure that you are doing something to eliminate the toxins. Get rid of the toxins that are in your cupboards. Go to things like Essential Shield or lemon essential oil. How marvelous that is for cleansing. And if you're fatigued and depressed, you might consider looking into detoxifying. And a foot bath is a wonderful way to do it. People feel marvelous when they're done with it. The other thing, next week, we're going to talk about toxic relationships. And I really feel that this time of the year, there's a lot of people out there that are depressed, that are not at the top of their game because of relationships and their emotions. So I really want to address that next week, and help me share these good news. So that's Tuesday, January 29th at Dr. Mary's Health to Home. And I want you to keep focusing on good choices for better health. And I want to thank you for viewing today. Please share this information. And until next week, this is Dr. Mary, Health to Home.